So here are the top routines that separate successful dog trainers from the ones who really struggle.
Welcome to the Top Dog Mindset Podcast, where we unlock the secrets of running a successful dog training business. I'm your host, Kevin, joined by my co-host, Angel. Together, we bring you expert insights, inspiring stories, and practical tips. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, we're here to provide you with the necessary information to build a thriving dog training company. So relax, join us with a cup of coffee as we explore the Top Dog Mindset Podcast.
Welcome in everybody to another episode of the Top Dog Mindset Podcast. Kevin and Angel here. And today we're going to be talking about everybody's favorite topic, and that is the idea of routines. And more specifically, routines that we've noticed over the years that really either help dog trainers grow in their business or the routines that keep people stuck. So more specifically, there's routines in life that I've found that when I follow them, I tend to see more growth. And then there's routines that when I follow them, they're not great routines. And I think that's kind of an interesting segue into the conversation here. So without further ado, Angel, how are you doing today? How's everything going for you?
I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to the weekend, 4th of July weekend. Get to lay by the pool. Mm-hmm.
So just to kind of kick it off, I have a couple questions pulled up here. And I want to ask you, from all of the clients that we've worked with over the years, the hundreds of people that you've coached in their dog training businesses, what do you think are the main routines that separate a $5,000 a month business owner from a $50,000 a month business owner?
I feel like this could be answered in a couple different ways, like routines within their business, as in I feel like that could come down to schedule management, not managing their schedule properly. And so it turns into one of those things where they're driving all over the place, kind of wasting time. And when I say wasting time, it's different from what I feel like most business owners call wasting time. It's not wasting time as in driving to consultations and then that person says no. What I mean by that is, driving to a consultation that's on one area of the town, maybe an hour away, and then scheduling a consultation that is on the total opposite side of the town where you have to drive another 2 hours that way. And then I don't know, different things like that. I think this was our last episode where I talked about this, or maybe the one before that, where I talked about how with my schedule, I would kind of mark things out as far as the area that I'm going to be in so I can get the most out of my time. So that's what I'm trying to get at. But yeah. Time management, and then I guess things like answering the phone and stuff like that, pretty much everything in your business, I feel really comes down to time management and routine and stuff like that. And if you just don't have any sort of order in things, it can make things super chaotic, and it can make you start to lose out on certain leads. It can the big thing that I have noticed is it can start to affect you as a person and your mood. And then that ends up showing in the conversations that you have with people on the phone. Even things in your personal life and time off, I've noticed that some people, they might book themselves out maybe a month or 2 months, which is really good. It's really nice to get yourself booked out, but then you kind of stop thinking ahead and you're just thinking in that moment. And you're like, oh, cool, I'm booked out 2 months. I can take a whole month off of work because I can. And you take that whole month off, and then you notice that you're having to really play catch up when you get back. And then you kind of fall back into that same bad routine of trying to play catch up and trying to get yourself booked back out. And so I to think of my time off as strategically as possible. I would try to take off at least a weekend from board and trains every month. And then maybe every 2 to 3 months, I would take a long weekend or something like that. Even if I didn't necessarily have anything planned, but I always made sure I blocked that time out on my schedule. So that way, that was kind of me staying in my routine of allowing myself a little bit of a break. Because if I just kept pushing through it, which, not gonna lie, sometimes I did, I would find myself getting closer to burnout each time. So really prioritizing self-care outside of running your business.
Yeah, I think that's really well said. We were talking about this the other day, and I kind of had this epiphany where it's we obviously are a marketing agency and we do all of this other stuff with our clients too, like coaching, helping them with their pricing, their programs, their sales process. And we've seen people come into our program and they do really well in the beginning and then they kind of fizzles out. And I think that can be for a variety of reasons. But I think one of the biggest reasons is because running a business and having a good month is very different than having a good year. And having a good year is very different than having a good 5 years and having a good decade, right? And having a really good 30-year career. There's going to be times where you feel like you have less motivation than others. But I think that's one of the most important factors that I notice with people who really consistently succeed is they have this like innate desire to always keep pushing forward and not just get like, even if they're burned out, they kind of make the proper change that kind of alleviates that burnout instead of just like forcing the issue a little bit further and just getting to a point where like I can't have another dog. I need to take 2 months off. And
Mhm.
so I think that the difficult thing with coaching obviously is you're dealing with individuals, you're dealing with people's personal, issues they have going on in their own lives and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, when I was thinking about this, like I think routines tie into this because exactly as you were saying before, you need to do some self-care. And, self-care, I always kind of get this like idea of like someone laying in a recliner by a pool with like a towel wrapped around their head and cucumber slices on their eyes, you know? But it doesn't need to be that. It's like self-care to me is just even once a week, my wife and I go to get coffee on Thursday mornings as a non-negotiable. Like that's what we do. And we go for like a quick walk. And, I try and take some time non-negotiable to block it off my calendar to work out, right? Or to, if I can take a client call and go for a walk outside. It's like there's different ways to kind of like do self-care. But yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day, we are all in charge of our schedule, whether we like to fully acknowledge that or not. Like you can make a decision to take a client on, not take a client on. You can make a decision to do a lesson past 7 o'clock or past 6 o'clock or not do that. Right. You can say no to money sometimes and no to consultations. It's like it's all about what you want. But I think the good news is like you can in most cases, if you're just trying to build like just a really good lifestyle business, you can have your cake and eat it too, in the sense of like, yeah, you don't need to break your back every single month to make 10K. You just need to have the correct systems in place to consistently get leads and have a way to like turn those leads into paying clients. But, I think that, yeah, just like routines plays into this because at the end of the day, if you don't prioritize the things that are most important to your mental well-being, you're going to burn out. And
Mhm.
if you don't prioritize the things in your business that are most important to get done, i.e. delivering good results to your clients, keeping your pipeline filled with new leads coming in, selling those people, then your business is not going to succeed. So, with that being said, let's hop into the next question here. So, what are non negotiable things that you think you should do every single day, even when you don't feel like doing it? So, I think this is more of like things in your business that need to get done, rain or shine.
I think non negotiables each day is you should have time set aside to do like admin type work. And I think that's separate from the phone, like answering the phone and things like that. That's just kind of like an all the time thing, obviously. But admin work as in like, I don't know, if you have a couple emails from clients that you need to get back to, or if you have video updates that you forgot to send out the night before that you need to send out to clients, reaching back out to clients, sending a text reminder of someone who still needs to submit their contract, different things like that. Updating your pipeline, that's a really big thing because that can get out of control pretty quickly. That's something that I talk with all of our new clients about too whenever they're onboarding is the importance of keeping that as updated as possible and telling people like what you should do is try to get in the habit of every time you have a phone call or anytime a status changes with one of your leads or one of your clients, make sure it's updated in your pipeline. So if you've been in communication with someone and then all of a sudden they buy and or all of a sudden they say like, "Oh, I had to get rid of my dog," change the status in the pipeline so that way it's where it needs to be. Try to get in the habit of doing that after every time you have a conversation with someone at the end of the day, spending literally 5 to 10 minutes on making sure the pipeline is updated, I think that goes a long way because when you don't do those things, people feel like, they want to save so much time by like, "Oh, I'll do that later. I'll do that later." And it turns into an everyday thing when it's really something that literally takes seconds. If you just get it done in seconds, it's done and it's out of the way. But again, that can get out of control very quickly by just not keeping things organized. And then you find yourself missing out on leads, unintentionally ignoring a client that had reached out to you, things like that. And then you're just kind of throwing these leads away. So I think like working on your business should be a non negotiable every day, like setting aside specific time for that.
Totally agree. Yeah, I really don't honestly have much to add to that. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think just another way to phrase it would be like every single day perform some form of a revenue generating activity, right? So that's like marketing, sales, following up, checking with people who haven't paid yet, stuff like that, you know?
Mhm.
All right. So the next thing is, what routines are holding most business owners back?
What routines are holding them back?
I
I would
got
say
something here. Or go ahead, you go first.
one of the things that comes to mind is people's routine on how they carry out their sales process. Whether
All
that
right, break that down for
is,
us.
I feel like that can be a few different things. Whether you have Okay, so there's a difference between just not answering your phone because you missed it and you're always missing your calls versus having this actual routine where I'm not going to answer the phone. I'm going to wait for the call to come in and then I'm just going to send them a text message. They'll have a link. If they really want a consultation, they'll book it themselves. Or like different things like that. Things that don't allow you to like jump on the lead right away or your routine with your sales process. Maybe your routine is, I get a lead in, I talk to them on the phone. They say, yes, I want to schedule a consultation. And then you say, okay, cool. I'm going to send you a link so you can schedule it. And then that person doesn't end up scheduling it because that's just another task they have to do. And it can kind of cause them to fall off. Or you do the consultation and then you leave without the sale intentionally. Because some people do this where they're like, this is my routine. I go in, I talk to them, and then I leave, and then once I get back home or back to the office or whatever, then I send them an email with like a price breakdown and then let them think on it a little bit. So those are
Yeah.
just a few examples.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, that's to me is a big no. You know, people who do that, every time we have a client who does that and then we explain it to them, they're like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." So
Mhm.
they, definitely like a really good piece of knowledge for people. Like if you are going making a sale, getting people to commit, and then you're like, "Okay, cool, I'm going to send all the documents after." Just get a credit card or a payment on the spot, process the payment, and it's like just get them in, you know.
Mhm.
But but yeah, I mean, I got a couple things that I think, this is just coming from like personal experience and things I've had to acknowledge for myself, like not checking social media. I think that can be like a real time suck. All those platforms are so well architected to just like keep you on them. And so you go on there to like look at one thing or do a post. And then all of a sudden you're on there for an hour scrolling God knows what, you know? And
Yeah.
so I would tell you there's a great Chrome extension called Newsfeed Eradicator. I have that on my computer, so anytime I go to Facebook, I don't even see my feed. I can go and see my profile, other people's profile, but I just don't see like the homepage of Facebook. You could do it for Instagram, you could do it for YouTube. But yeah, I think just being like very, as the saying goes, like having custody of like your eyes and mind. I think that like this is very that's a good, I think that's like kind of a good way to look at this. It's like you can very easily earn back multiple hours a week if you just cut out social media, you know? And as much as we all don't like to admit this, because like it's the age old, I know a lot of people like resent Dave Ramsey for this, where he talks about not going out to get coffee every single day or not going out to eat and or canceling the Netflix subscription, right? And people are like, that's not going to save me any money. That's like stupid advice. It's like, well, the truth is, if you really do that and you really audit how much time you're putting into social media, or you look at how much money you're putting into Starbucks's pocket or into Chipotle's pocket, and you like, this is a good exercise. Like, if not to go on a tangent here, but it's like if you were to take that money and put that into an investment account for 30 years, you'd probably at the end of the 30-year period have close to $1 million. So that's kind of like the same exact philosophy with your business and your time and social media and just focusing on the wrong things, where it's
Mhm.
like if you were to get all that time back and it was all stacked up, the amount of time you spent on social media over the last year, you would have probably weeks of your time back to just focus on your business. So this is just to say, like, the reason I'm saying this is because it was something I had to kind of like really face myself one day, is like I'm looking at the wrong things. on a daily basis, I'm focusing on the wrong things. And just going back to what you were saying before, focus on the revenue generating activities. Another thing is like constantly reacting to notifications. So this is something that I've kind of really had to realize for myself. It's like there's times to do client communication and then there's times to get stuff done in your business. And if you're somebody who like constantly finds themselves getting pulled away, I think a really good thing to do is just like put your phone in the other room, get on your computer, silence all notifications, and set a timer for yourself. Get an actual timer off of Amazon.com or set it like, I'm sure there's like an app on your computer you can use and just get right to work and tell yourself, like, I'm just going to work for an hour, uninterrupted. And then once that hour is up, I can go check my phone. Right.
Mhm.
Somebody that's like trying to reschedule their lesson for their dog, right? It's like, they're not having a heart attack. That can wait an hour. It would
Yeah.
wait an hour anyway if you were in a consultation. It would wait an hour anyway if you were in the middle of another lesson, right? So like for some reason, you're willing to like commit to, or I should say we are all willing to commit to other people and be like, when I'm with this client, I give them nothing but my time and I'm honoring that commitment to them. But when we create these commitments for ourselves and it's like just between me, myself, and I, it's like I'll just blow right through the commitment and I'll be like, oh, well, this is just more important. And so I think that's a really important thing to do as well.
Yeah, I can relate to both of those. So like with the social media stuff, I've had to basically give myself times on when I'm allowed and not allowed social media. Like for example, I mean this happens often, but literally just like yesterday I went on, I think it was like Instagram or something because I was intentionally looking for a business's page. But as soon as I got on there, I was distracted by
Mhm.
some reel and I watched it. And then muscle memory, my thumb just went whoop and I swiped to the next one and I just kept going and kept going. And then I realized, like, I was like, wait, I feel like I came to Instagram because I needed to do something. And I just went down a whole rabbit hole of looking at shit content and wasted so much time. But that's what sometimes happens in the morning. Like I wake up, I open my eyes, and I'm like, oh, I'll just relax here for a minute and scroll social media. And then next thing you know, I'm like, shit, I need to like get my day started. And so, yeah, I've had to limit myself. But when I was still actively training, I know I've brought this up before, but I ended up getting an Apple Watch and I got that because what was also happening, like while I was in the middle of working dogs, is I might get a notification on my phone and then I would, stop what I'm doing, reach into my pocket, or I might have to clean off my hands because my hands are all full of treats and then get my phone and check it. And I'm like, oh, it's just a spam call, or oh, it's just like, a spam text message or something like that. Or maybe it's something that I didn't necessarily need to get to right away. But just like those little things, having to stop my session, clean my hands, get my phone, and all of that stuff, it just wastes so much time. And so I got an Apple Watch and I made sure not to turn on any social media notifications on there. It was just like text and calls. So that way, if I was getting a notification, like a text or a call, I could literally just look at it to see if it's something I needed to get to right away and then just put my hand down. And so I found that to be really, really helpful because, yeah, once you get your phone in your hand, then it's almost like muscle memory. Like, okay, I handled that notification. Now let me go take a look at social media really quick.
Let me go brain rot for the next like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
terrible.
The last thing I want to finish up with too, it's like that's a total life hack in Apple Watch. This too, getting Apple headphones. Like if you have an iPhone and don't own a pair of these, what are you doing? Straight up,
Yeah.
it's like it's a business. It's a tax write off. It makes your life so much better. Like the amount of people that I've given that recommendation to, where they're like, "Well, I can't answer my phone while I'm like walking dogs." It's like just put your headphones in before the walk and you literally reach up if someone calls you and you tap your ear and it answers the call,
So
you know?
easy.
And it's one of these things that's like, it really is adds so much value that if you're thinking to yourself like, oh, I can't afford that. Of course there's cheaper options. I just like the Apple ones because it's already like set up and it's just like native to the iPhone. But yeah, I mean, if you don't have wireless headphones, we'll end with this. Please go get a pair of wireless headphones. It will like change your life.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we got to run to another call here. So we're going to wrap it up. But I hope you guys got some value out of this episode today. And we will see you guys all very soon in the next one. See you guys.
Bye, guys.